In fact, the 7,000 illegal immigrants bused to D.C. by Abbott's program caused such a problem that the D.C. mayor asked for help from the National Guard.
This is a very significant issue. We have for sure called on the federal government to work across state lines to prevent people from really being tricked into getting on buses.
The Pentagon turned her down, but we need to be clear. She declared an emergency over 1% of her population. 7,000 dropped off in a city of 700,000. And like Mayor Adams, Bowser only spoke up when the Texas governor paid for their trip. Up until then, illegal immigration and open borders were just fine with her. Take the city of Eagle Pass on Texas's border with Mexico, population 30,000. Last year, the Border Patrol dropped off roughly half of that population, about 15,000, and just left them on the streets. Here's the mayor of Eagle Pass. She's a Democrat, explaining just some of the problems caused in her city by the massive immigrant drop-offs.
I mean, just last month alone, we had over 13,000 immigrants that went through here, through Eagle Pass. There's murders, there's sex offenders, there's, all kinds of people coming in. Yeah, there's good people that all they want to do is come and work, but it's a mix of people. I mean, they're letting them loose everywhere.
Nobody's coming to save her or help her. No segments on CBS Face the Nation about her and Eagle Pass, Texas, and the chaos being caused there. Save that thought for a second. We just want to make sure we're clear on what's happening here. What the mayor of Eagle Pass just described is playing out every day in a city near you in Texas. Here's some of the chases that happen. We've also shown you countless stories and interviews of the Texas Department of Public Safety and Texas National Guard trying to secure the border. Remember, that's supposed to be Border Patrol's job, but they simply can't handle the crowds. So the Texas governor says President Biden's border policies just encourage more to come. Obviously, the result, if you encourage more people to come, is predictable. We've shown you massive crowds that come across the border. They turn themselves into Border Patrol, like right here. Roughly half are deported. Half get a free pass into the United States. Again, rough numbers here. But since President Biden took over, we're talking about well over 1 million people let into the United States, people who came here illegally and then let off into the United States. That's the population of D.C. and Pittsburgh combined. Within days or hours, they are dropped off by Border Patrol all over Texas. Hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of them over the past year dropped off in Texas. We've shown you a lot of video of them getting off the buses in San Antonio and McAllen and a number of other Texas cities. Here's how it works. Come across the border, turn yourself into CBP to be processed. Half, as we say, get released into the country. Certainly most of the family units do. You get issued a document to appear in court, likely years in the future, and then you get released into a border town, like Eagle Pass. Many stay in those towns. You heard the mayor talk about the problems that caused. Others get free trips out of town. For the past 18 months or so, charities working with the federal government offered free bus rides or plane tickets to the city of their choice. Recently, Governor Abbott of Texas said his state would pay for bus rides to D.C. or New York. Nobody forces the now free illegal immigrants onto the bus. Clearly, of course, Abbott's trying to make a political point. But suddenly now, since he is the one paying for the bus tickets, illegal immigration is a crisis. As we showed you on Thursday, the New York Times is happy to oblige, writing a headline last week, GOP governors cause havoc by busing immigrants to East Coast. Just so we're clear on the logic here, the Biden administration lets in 1 million plus illegal immigrants. They're released into Texas and Arizona. Charities then buy them plane or bus tickets, and it is humanitarian. If Greg Abbott offers those same illegal immigrants that are released into his state a bus ride to New York or D.C., it becomes cruel and horrific, and according to the New York Times, causes havoc. Just for a second, and this is important to do before we talk more about the mayors and the situation going on. Let's take off our political hats. The people you see here that we've encountered when we're on the border, they gave everything to come to America. They left their homes, risked their lives. You get it. It's not their fault. But there's a real shame here, and here it is. Big city mayors only care about illegal immigrants and illegal immigration now that they have figured out how to use these people who risked everything for the American dream. Big city mayors have now figured out how to use them for their political gain. That's On Point tonight. We're going to get to George Will in a minute. But first, News Nation's Allie Bradley, who covers the border, is with us. Allie, other than scale here, is there a fundamental difference between what the Border Patrol is doing to Greg Abbott and Texas and what Abbott is doing to these D.C. mayors?
Well, you say scale here, Leland, and what Abbott's doing isn't even close to scratching the surface of what the border communities have dealt with and have seen over the last few years. I mean, really, they've been dealing with an influx since I've been covering this over a year. They've been asking for help since this time last year, Leland. When you look at the scale of people that are being transported, and I've even asked the governor, what's the difference between what he's doing and what the NGOs are doing? And he said it's to move people out of these border communities and to allow New York and Washington, D.C. to experience just a slight bit of what they're experiencing along the border and have been for months.
Stunning there. You can't bus everybody out of Texas and these other towns. What did the Texas mayors say to you when you talk to them, or the Texas sheriffs? Do they have any advice for New York and D.C. and these other cities, or no sympathy?
I mean, it's kind of no sympathy at this point, Leland. Most of the people are like, they really legitimately, quote, say, good, let them get run over like we are. That's the sentiment from agents, from law enforcement individuals, because they have been asking for help. They've been asking for federal assistance. They've been asking the government to just qualify this as a crisis, and the administration still won't do that. So yeah, right now they are just kind of saying, you're going to have to deal with what we're dealing with. But again, Leland, you broke it down there. This has been going on for quite a while. This has been going on. The buses have been moving throughout since 2019 easily from the NGO in Del Rio. She talked to us today. She was actually assisting migrants to get on one of those voluntary buses. And again, they started in 2019 and they were sending out 2 Greyhound buses a day. I even bought a ticket one time while I was down there.
Wow.
So those buses have been moving for a long time. This is not new.
Nobody's ever met them. Allie, I'm wondering, is there a way this ends without securing the border?
I don't see a way that there can be an end to this, because the governors aren't going to let up. We know that the governor of Arizona, Doug Ducey, he's going to continue sending buses to Washington, D.C. He says he's not sending any to New York, Leland. But Governor Abbott does say New York and D.C., those are the spots that are going to continue to receive migrants, because those are the spots where America can see firsthand what's going on and where the government can see what's going on firsthand. And yeah, so unless they come together and come up with some kind of solution, any kind of solution, because right now it's been hands off for the border, except for some policies where they've waved some magical policy wands while we were sleeping, and all of a sudden everybody basically gets released. Those things, they've got to get a handle on what's happening at the border, and these governors want some kind of action.
Yeah, no,
they don't just want people released.
Yeah, and they said they haven't gotten any help. This was their call. There's the only way they say to get attention. We were just seeing some images from Brian Enton's reporting there of planes being loaded with migrants that nobody seemed to care about back then. Now they do. Allie, thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Good talking to you. Bring in George Will. Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.